Heyo, what is up, everybody? I'm here with Olly Steele from Monuments. How are you,
What's up,
dude?
people?
Um, and I should say, when you release solo music, are you just Olly Steele? Is it just Olly Steele music
Yeah, for now.
for now?
I kind of realized maybe it was smarter to go by a side project name,
I mean,
just in case I want to.
yeah. I mean, I guess it depends. I mean, there's obviously people who just go by their name and it works for them. And you also happen to have a really cool name, so it's quite all right.
I'm not going to argue with you. It's just that you never know. Like right now, obviously playing metal is the thing, but
Yeah.
maybe when I'm 50, I want to like play blues or something. It
Well,
won't be that.
I'll listen to Olly Steele, the R&B project, in like 20 years for sure.
That's the thing. But let's say that happened, and then people check out the early stuff, and it's just not that.
Right.
Maybe it's worth it. Maybe it's funny.
Well, dude, it's been a while since I've like really seen you. I guess the last time I saw you in person was either that NAMM that we talked about the other day, which was like 2 years ago, 3.
Nah, it was 2016.
Oh wow. Well then,
I've only been
okay,
to one.
I saw you in London one day on a tour. I think that was probably the last time we saw each other in person.
In Electric Ballroom in Camden.
Yep. Sick
Who else
show.
was playing? Was Polar's there?
Wait, was that the North Lane tour?
That makes sense. Yeah, I think it was.
Okay. Wow. So that was our first time in Europe too, which is crazy. So
Yeah, it was a sick show.
it's been a very long time since we've seen each other. I've always had mad respect for Olly. We toured together once. We did a Glass Cloud co-headliner.
Never again.
Yeah, but it was their first time in the States, which was kind of special for them too. But I love you guys, and I miss you guys.
That was incredible.
It was a
really
very,
cool
very
tour.
fun tour. I often think about that tour. How are you, dude? How's this year treated you?
This year's all right. It's the lockdown is starting to catch up with me. I was all good, and now I'm going a little bit fucking crazy.
Are you?
Should I not swear?
No, I don't care.
'Cause I'm probably gonna swear.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah,
Why were you okay? Like, what were you filling your time with, or like, were you just like kind of ready for a break when it all started, or?
Well, in a weird way, at the beginning, it was kind of fun and kind of cool, right? It was like, oh, this is kind of spooky. Let's fuck around in the house and like, I don't know, play board games and puzzles and watch movies. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now it's like, man, I miss the boys. I haven't played a gig in a long time. I miss hanging out socially. Blah blah blah. Yeah, and I think because it's winter as well over here, it's just starting to ease off. But winter here, it's kind of dark by 4 p.m.
Seasonal depression is very real. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so it was easier to
getting,
be quarantined when the sun was shining and you could like actually exercise and do stuff and.
Yeah, and you could still hang out outdoors. But yeah, it's all right. I mean, at the beginning of this year, luckily I have stuff to be putting out, so
yeah,
it's still an exciting time.
I was a huge fan of Balance. I was a huge fan of Try. Nailed it.
Thank you.
Which I love that singer too. I'm so stoked you asked him to be on the track. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know any band I've ever toured with in my life that didn't have a hard on for Carnival.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a that was like a dream big situation because I fully approached that with a like, he's going to say no to you, so have some other people in mind.
Why not try though? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was
right. It's one of the
it's
situations. Yeah, it's like one of the situations where like the worst that could hurt is that he says no, but the best case scenario is that you have that dude on your track and it happened and it's so sick.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm very happy with it, and he was real cool to work with as well. We've toured together before. It was a short. I want to say it was like maybe 10 days or something, just in Europe. So we know the guys a little bit.
Okay.
And when we played, we bumped into them in Australia at Soundwave, and then when we played Australia 2019, they came down to the show.
So it was a lot easier to ask than just not knowing the guy.
Yeah, that might not have worked, but you never know. Anyway, I don't have to think about that because happened.
It happened. You said he was great to work with. I actually wondered what the process of that was like. Did you just send him the song and hope for the best for the vocals, or did you work with him on it?
Yeah, so I kind of had the structure, what I consider to be finished. Obviously, you always got to leave some wiggle room because sometimes a singer wants, maybe they just need more time to say more of the story they're telling, right, lyrically.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I was like, this could be done. I just sent it to him and said, would you want to jam on an idea of mine? I don't think I sent him anything that wasn't, I don't think I sent him any examples. I think I just sent him the track. And he said, yeah, I'll have a jam. And then maybe a couple of weeks went by and it was kind of quiet. And I was like, but he's, people are busy.
Yeah.
And also getting into studios. I think he likes to go to the studio to do stuff. Getting into studios was a whole thing. And yeah, he just sent back some ideas and I was like, sick. Well, he's at least jammed over it. So
right. Yeah.
it's looking fairly good. And then, yeah, we just went back and forth on just maybe like a little bit phrasing here and there. I think at one point I'd left a blank spot because there wasn't a solo in there. And he cut it out. He made an edit and he was like, I just thought this flowed more. I was like, I see what you're trying to do. I'm not going to do that.
That's actually amazing.
Only because maybe I forgot to tell him there's going to be a solo. I think I did. I can't remember.
Usually right. So it just seemed like empty, like guitar space. Okay.
Just a loop. Yeah.
So he probably was making a pretty good call. He just didn't realize
it was a perfect call. Yeah.
Yeah.
It made a lot of sense. But I was like, I want to throw a guitar solo in there.
I want to do the thing that I do. Yeah.
Yeah. But I wanted to make a point to like repeat some of his vocal melodies or something and make it really songy. Yeah. So for me, I needed that section, not just to like shred or whatever, but so yeah, it was very chill.
And then, what's funny? So let me just brag on you a little bit.
Okay.
The like very 90s-esque like oversaturated tremolo lead in that song is my favorite part of the whole song.
The wobbly thing?
Yes, dude. So 90s. It's so appropriate, so good. The reason I want to brag on you is because it seems as though you're obviously an incredible guitar player and you shred, but I think where you have started to soar lately is just your composition and melody, and like that lead is like a perfect descriptor on saying like, yes, let's put a lead here, but it doesn't need to be sweeping, it doesn't need to be tapping. It's just a melody and it fits perfectly and it's so sick.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, dude.
That was the whole thing. Like when I sent him the solo, he was like, "Man, I thought you were just gonna start shredding from the first beat to the end."
Right.
So I definitely wanted to do something. What'd you call it? Like withheld. Just like I was using things like Queens of the Stone Age as an example, just for my mindset. Just melodic stuff.
Well, and I think that might be one of the hardest things for guitar players, especially guitar players who do solo stuff, is they just want to showcase everything they can do, and it just ends up coming out jarbled mess.
That's,
you know what I mean?
You know, the funny thing is, do you know Jack Gardner?
Yeah, the name sounds really familiar.
He's a UK dude, but he lives in Switzerland. He's just makes you want to quit.
Yeah. No, I think I know exactly. He plays like a black telly with a gold pickguard. Is that him?
Maybe. Okay. I usually see him with a headless Stramberg and the new black AZ. It's like an AZ version of what you have behind you.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's the kind of guy who plays like an older guy.
Yeah.
Like he's just got so much shit together already in a very musical way. He's not like a metalhead. I mean, I'm sure he likes some heavy stuff, but you know what I mean? You can tell he's been learning in the right way.
Yeah.
And practices a lot. So anyway, I went to him because I was having trouble with the lead and maybe that's because
that's funny.
All of a sudden I had to do something, a little bit different. And I asked him to show me some like cool melodic things that could happen over it in terms of chord tones and stuff that I don't really use because I'm not a jazz fusion player. And I also went to my old guitar teacher from college and asked him similar questions. And at the end of it, it was really cool, but I didn't use any of the stuff that they'd showed me because I don't really, it's not a natural thing for me to implement. So I just did what I know how to do, and just like went for what I thought were catchy notes, and then just like washed my hands of it. And I think it worked out.
Oh, you crushed it. And what's funny is I almost feel like it's a carnival part, which is just like perfect for, you know, the situation. And...
See, that's what I was trying to avoid.
Oh, well, you can't, dude. Well, like, let's be real. When he's singing on a song, it's already gonna have elements of that band.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I got no beef with that. They're obviously one of my favorite bands ever.
But even with that, like you writing for vocals being over it, Balance was that way too. It's very reserved. I could easily hear someone singing over that song.
You think it's reserved?
I do.
I'd say the solo is.
I mean, even just like the leads, like just I feel like there's still like you're going for the concept and melody of like the bigger picture opposed to just doing what you can do on a guitar. You know what I mean?
Cool. That's definitely what I'm trying to do. So I'm glad that you just said the perfect thing to me.
Hey, that's what I do, man.
Podcast over.
Dude. Are you gonna have other vocalists? Are you gonna try to keep writing with like vocals in mind, or is this just you're writing it out and seeing how it feels?
So short answer is yes. So basically, sometimes I come up with shit where I'm like, this is technical enough to stand up by itself, like Balance. Could have had a singer on it. It was fine without one. And I am starting to. I'm basically just more productive. More shit comes out if I'm doing stuff I haven't really done before. So we try a bunch of moving chords, kind of like maybe Under Oath would use or something like that, instead of just the down picking, string skipping Monuments thing all the time. And things were coming out. So I have a few more ideas in a similar vein. And I think writing for vocals is fun as well because it doesn't have to be so. It doesn't have to satisfy muso ears so much. It doesn't have to be so like technical and fiddly. So yeah, and there are a bunch of singers that I want to work with. I think there's a bunch of singers that I've said, yeah, we'll do something one day because that's what happens when you play tough.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's kind of a long-term plan, but I think alongside that, if something's ready, I'm just gonna put it out. I'm not gonna try and do a 20-track album and each one has a different vocalist and is in a different style. Do you know what I mean? If I have a song ready, I'm just going to get it out there.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the digital age, right? Like, it's even... I feel like Spirit Box is a great example of bands that just put singles out and stay so relevant, doing it right.
Yeah, they're doing sick.
I'm actually a little worried that as we progress into the future and streaming platforms, that the attention span isn't good enough for albums anymore.
It's already screwed.
Yeah. It's like
Gucci Gang is like 1 minute and 50 seconds long.
Yep.
I'm not gonna write a song that's as big as that. It could happen. It probably won't.
Yeah, or Old Town Road, you know.
Yeah, I was well into that tune.
I bet you were, dude. Yo, as someone from, we're completely like running off on a tangent right now, but as someone from London, how do you feel about Man's Not Hot?
Why did I know that was gonna come up? It was the best fucking thing. Because you've seen him in the studio doing it, where it's born from.
Yes.
And that was just like...
So he's a comedian, right?
Yeah.
And then he basically just freestyled and made the hottest track on earth for like a couple...
He's got like different characters and shit.
Oh my God.
But he's also... I think he also acts a little bit now, maybe. He definitely does like skits and comedy.
Okay.
But I think I saw him in an advert for like Call of Duty or something like that. He's just...
Yeah.
He's just out of it already, real quick. It was incredible. And then I remember I was visiting my mate in like Belfast, which is not London. And I was in like I don't know what in a store, just like a grocery shop. And it was playing in there.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is not, you can't escape this tune.
It was one of the biggest songs that year, like huge. Like on the level of like Gangnam Style, Old Town Road. It was insane. It was hilarious to watch. Yeah. But usually when those songs blow up, I'm like, this is so stupid. I hate hearing this, but not that time. I was so on board with it. It was basically like satire too. Like it was so good.
It was ridiculous. the best. I'll never forget when I first saw him in the studio doing it, and he starts the thing, and then he just keeps going. He hasn't stopped making silly noises, and I was just like transfixed. It's genius.
It is genius.
It's completely genius.
Not to get off track here, I just wanted to ask you about that one.
No guitars in that song.
Because I found myself saying a lot of really stupid British slang for a while too after that, which I should never.
Such as?
I mean, I abused "in it" for a while, obviously, and then
a good one. The problem with slang is I find that you hear it, you hate it, you go, "That's fucking stupid,"
and then you find yourself saying
ironically.
Yep.
Yeah. After using it as a joke, it's in your vocabulary. In it for me was just like, can we not? And now it's the most useful, versatile. It's just in my mouth all the time.
Yeah.
Pause.
Okay, let's go back. So talking about your guitar playing, even in Monuments, I feel like you've really stepped up as a soloist. You solo?
I mean, we have a solo now.
Yes. Was that the first guitar solo in like the whole discography?
No, there was one before, but kind of like Try and Balance. It was just a slow section, and it was just about playing.
Right, like a lot of like
notes.
Yeah. Which it's
not. I mean,
it's funny how much of those solos exist in metal. It's like the verse, just guitar riff will be the most shreddy thing on earth, and then they go to a solo and they're just like they just hit like a.
Well, you got to do something different.
Yeah,
you can't just like keep it at 10 all the time.
But as guitar players, we respect a certain type of solo, right? Like we all appreciate like the Eddie Van Halen solo. Like there's just like that class of solos. I think everyone knows when a solo is done well. Like I give a lot of props to the Periphery dudes because they nail solos all the time.
Right.
But I mean, I assume it's hard to phrase a solo in a metal song, but you also seem to be crushing that too. So props.
So the thing is, I was happy to never put a solo in a Monument song because we had our thing. We had our like appeal or whatever, and it's based around riffs, songs, and vocals, right? Beats, being funky, groovy, whatever. So it was never my intention, and I didn't shoehorn it in either. We'd finished the structure of the song, and I was like, "This, I think we need a guitar solo here to break it up." So that means I need to do. Okay, I like threw myself under the bus.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm here for a guitar solo in any song ever.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, it was a fun moment, and it was because a few things happened on that song. That was first tune with Andy, first tune with Mike back. It's a song that we teased for that album, but it didn't come out because the vocals didn't get done for it, and it's got the first guitar solo. So it was a cool like we're back.
Yeah, it's like a shifting into a new era of Monuments. It's really cool. No, I didn't. There's no pun.
That's right. He did it.
That was no pun. You just distracted me so hard.
Did you glance at a list just now?
No. That was me looking outside my window, just thinking about life. That also means you're gonna have to pull it off live. Which are you like super excited about that?
Which I did. Well, we've toured. We toured straight after that tune came out.
Oh, okay. So you did pull it off live.
It. I was not killing it.
I was not killing it.
I'd say maybe what. Well, I'm not trying to blame my tools, but the guitar I had did have a dodgy. Hang on, it did have a dodgy tuning peg. So
right,
music's playing.
Dodgy.
There's sketchy, sus. There's a bend and then there's a run, and that bend would always move the string.
Okay,
a fair amount, and that just kept happening. And then, like at the London show, which was like the last show, Brown was like, "Can you go and get another guitar from your house?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess."
Well, right. Why are you using a guitar with a dodgy tuning peg, dude?
Because it was brand new. Couldn't work out if it was just because we were in India and it'd been on a plane or this and that. And then as the tour started to progress, it was like, it's kind of consistent. Then I got the tuning pegs changed. and I think it was still maybe an issue, so I used a different guitar. But yeah, short answer is it wasn't great at first because I don't play solos.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah.
I can write one.
In like a touring situation, right? I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's one split second of absolute stress. Everyone's looking at me. I'm shaking.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, because this is how I approach playing guitar always. Whether it be a lead, a rhythm, at the end of the day, you're just playing the same notes you always have to play. So I feel like at the end of the day, it's just a part that you have to get down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. But it's the, I don't know about you, but I find that physically, I mean, it sounds very obvious, but lead playing and rhythm playing are physically two very different things.
Yeah.
And one of them I've spent a lot of time doing, still not as good as I'd like to be. And the other one I kind of do for fun.
I guess you guys aren't very lead driven as well. Like
no, not at all.
Yeah, I forget that.
We do. I mean, we do have like Brown. I think what would be cool is if one day Brown, who's another guy who just doesn't market himself as a lead player, but if Brown had like a sick guitar solo on the next Monuments album, people would lose their shit.
Yeah.
And he knows how to put notes together. But again, it's not essential. I think that it could easily not happen on the next album.
Yes, but you guys have messed up, right? You guys have already done one, so now there's like a market for it, right?
If it calls for it, cool. But we'll see.
Right, I mean, you're not going to force a guitar solo in a section that doesn't need it. I get it.
No.
Yeah.
It's always about the tune.
Man, that's funny. All right, I have a bit of a backbone that I like to bounce. Now I'm looking at my list.
Okay, no, it's all good. It's better to be prepared.
I agree.
I would suck at one of these.
How I sucked at first. I probably actually still suck. I'm not even going to claim to be good at it. Let's talk about young Olly learning guitar and finding the passion for guitar you did. What bands were you just like constantly playing or trying to learn from? Or what even got you in guitar in general?
So basically boredom got me into it.
Okay.
I was away from home, and there was a acoustic guitar lying around one summer.
So college?
Boarding school.
Okay.
And yeah, one of the dudes who worked there happened to know. Yeah. And once you learn that and you can jam it, it's pretty fun.
It's fun,
you
yeah.
Get my mileage out of it. And then I like learned this Gorillaz bass line.
That's where your rhythm has come from. That one part right there. Whoa.
Possibly, I was obsessed with that song. I still fuck with that song.
It's a good song.
And then so then one day one of the teachers brought in. I've told this story before somewhere, so I try to keep it short. One of the teachers brought in an electric
I haven't
guitar.
heard it.
Okay, cool. Well, it's about you. He brought in an electric, like a Strat, and we were just playing, like jamming, but really he was just trying to keep up with whatever one riff I knew how to play. And then he started chugging, and that I can remember the moment. Just muting, like soft rock. I mean, it's not what we consider.
Oh, yeah, okay. I literally immediately imagined just like with Sugar Chugs.
Whitechapel.
I was like, Jesus.
It was not.
Did Gorillaz really call for that?
Yeah. No, he was playing. It was something else.
Okay.
But I was like, what the fuck is? I remember it like electric shock. It's like I've heard, and then it kind of reminds you that you've heard that before. If you've seen Bill and Ted, or you've certain Michael Jackson songs, or
right.
You know, if you've been music TV, there's going to be Queens of the Stone Age and Foo Fighters and dum 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 dum, and you're like, oh, that's that shit. I do like that. Show me how to do that. And then from there, you realize that that's what's in rock and metal. And in metal, it's even heavier and it's even more chuggy and it's even like more technically impressive. Yep. So it just kind of naturally evolved from there.
Wow, so you really just started from the chugs, huh? It's crazy.
It was the first thing I heard when I didn't hear an acoustic guitar and go, yeah, that's me. It was fun to do a thing, you know,
yes,
it takes a little bit of synchronicity and you produce a sound from a thing. It's fun. But only in the same way that maybe we all know one lick on a keyboard or something.
Yeah. So did you just rush out and buy an electric guitar, or what was your process?
Yeah, basically. I think he what's the word? he loaned me.
Okay.
There you go. He let me borrow that one, so I'd fuck around with that for a bit. We're talking like, I don't even know if it's in tune or not. Practice amp.
Yeah, but it probably felt good, man. Like, I think I remember my first time going from an acoustic to electric, and I was like, first off, why is this so easy? You know what I mean? Like, after you've been like forcing yourself to learn guitar on a high action acoustic that has no business being played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar thing. I remember I actually, funnily enough, it's like prophetic, but I remember that using any string that wasn't the low string was terrifying. I could not make my hand hit any other string. So I was just a low string riffer.
You were just a bass player with 6 strings.
For the first, and that's like, the joke is that we only use one string along with many other bands.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean,
but learning how to like do the pedal, to get that kind of thing, it was over. And then shit like all the Roadrunner shit, Trivium, Killswitch Engage, Slipknot, at some point you just fall into metal, don't you? And then you start hearing all these bands, Metal Hammer magazine, just getting like demos of new shit that's coming out. There was a lot of Roadrunner bands and a lot of like melodic metalcore was the first love, I'd say, because that had like choruses as well. Like,
well, what's funny about those songs is like looking back on them now, it's like the root note was always that open, right? It's like those bands were so good at just writing that open D or C, whatever they were in. They just write it while they riff around it, but they're still just hitting that open note. It's so funny.
I still listen to them. Like, I still listen to Killswitch all the time.
Yeah.
It's just so satisfying. Lucky for me, I mean, well, I don't know if it's like, but I mean, Killswitch are a really well-produced band, right? Yeah. They have the guy in The Thing. They have a sweet vocalist. They have a sick drummer. They have the tones. They have the Andy Sneap production. They have the fucking riffs. So it was never going to let go. There are other metalcore bands that maybe I liked at the time, and now I'm just like, it's not comparable.
Hard to go back to, yeah. I'm also a quality snob, too, so it's hard for me to go back and listen to records that aren't produced super well, like engineering-wise.
Okay. I
hate that I'm that way because there's a lot of really great content that I should listen to from then, but I can't do it.
I find that I like quality too, but if the tune is there, it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
I think nostalgic carries me too. You know what I mean? Like, I can go back and listen to shit records that I loved just because I loved them at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing.
So did you just like start learning all those songs? Just
not really. It was just kind of like learn the main riff from Laid to Rest and then learn.
Well, I still do that. I don't think I've learned a full band song, and besides like era stuff, in years. I learned I'll listen to a song like that riff is sick, and I'll learn that riff, and I'll move on. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe the whole song isn't that sick.
I mean, I'm not gonna say that.
No, I'm not talking about era. I'm just talking about.
No. I know. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
So yeah, the full songs wasn't. This was my issue that I had to catch up with. Is the full songs. I listen to music. I listen to full songs, but nothing said you should learn a whole Killswitch song right now, or you should learn a whole, I don't know, System of a Down song right now.
I used to be better about it. I used to learn full entire songs because, I mean, I was in a band when I was younger and I would do covers and there's stuff like that. But I definitely fell out to a place to where I would just learn a riff and move on from it.
Same. And many of the riffs, I mean, just even simple hammer-ons or legato shit, I couldn't do it. No one could show me how to do it.
Yeah.
The learning, where could you learn from? YouTube wasn't there. The magazines, I didn't really have the guidance. So there was a lot of shit that I couldn't do. Like Trivium were the best band in the world, and nothing was going to get better than Ascendancy. And like the drummer from Killswitch was the best drummer in the world.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't believe. Do you know what I mean? That's where my mind was at, and I never actually had any drive to write. I wrote riffs, but full songs and going, sitting down and going, okay, you need to find a way to record this, or you're probably going to want like a minimum of 3 minutes, or you're going to get a vocalist on this, but do you know any vocalists? Like there was the aspiration wasn't there.
Yeah.
I didn't naturally just fall into it, and no one pushed me into that.
Well, so then earlier you mentioned a guitar teacher in college.
So he was a teacher who played guitar.
So a literal guitar teacher.
Yeah, I would pick up three dudes who kind of each knew a little thing, and I'd grab those, and then I kind of knew everything. Everything else was from Total Guitar Magazine or just noodling about. And actually, I think that's kind of the most, obviously I would have sucked so bad, but that's probably the most fun I ever had on the instrument. When you don't know anything and any success is huge.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm tapping like,
yeah,
this is fucking sick. You know what I mean? Or learning your first sweep, or being able to work out something by ear, learning a corn riff and being like, I'm playing corn riffs.
Yes.
It was sick. It was really, really exciting. Because now, this part's really uninspiring, but now I hear something and I go, ah, yeah, that's an augmented arpeggio. Nice one. Whereas back in the day, you hear the solo from Beat It and you're like, I mean, it's still incredible.
Yeah.
But you hear it as magic. You hear it as literal sonic magic. And you're like, what the fuck? You've seen Bill and Ted, right?
It's been a long time.
Oh,
or are you talking about like the new one? Because one just came out.
No. The original.
No, it's been a very, very long time.
There's a scene where, so they go and grab people from the past. That took a second. Bring them to the future. They put Beethoven on an electric keyboard in a mall. And then he's shredding away. But it's actually Nuno Bettencourt shredding, picking guitar. But I didn't know that it was different. And I remember the excitement of that sound. I was like, how can a human do that? And that stuff was all in the first kind of 2 years. Well, and
you missed that, right? Like, I miss being younger and being like super, because I don't like to be the guy that's just like, I know what that is. You know, that sucks, but
it's part of it.
Yeah, it comes with it for sure.
It just is what it is. It doesn't mean I don't enjoy it now. It doesn't mean that I'm not very grateful for the shit, but yeah, I specifically, and you're just younger as well, so you're more like emotionally
impressionable.
Things are gonna affect you.
Yeah.
Like now, if I hear a sick tune, I'm like, that's a sick tune. I'll listen to that again tomorrow.
That's it. Period. Yeah.
Yeah. And then over time, you know, maybe it'll. But you know, it's cool.
And then, were you in a band before Monuments?
What do you say?
Were you in a band before Monuments?
One band, yeah, called Cyclamen.
Okay.
So like a noisy band. Not many keys going on.
Right.
Lots of weird, like dissonant, aggressive weirdness.
Well, so what got you into that? Like, what made you want to play that kind of music? If you like came from,
I actually never did. What happened was, I went to college with a guy who used to play metal. He's called Duncan Lee, and he played drums for Cyclamen. So we chatted a little bit, and then I think a year after I left college, he was like, "Are you in a band yet?" And I just wasn't, because again, I didn't have that thing that was like, you need to write songs, just get in the band, you're gonna do this.
Yeah, the drive.
Yeah. Not because, I mean, I just hadn't thought about it. I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do. It was
16. A hobby at that point, right? Yeah.
So he said, "Are you in a band yet?" I said, "No." He's like, "I'm doing this." I listened to it, and then one of the dudes from Sixth was guesting on one of their songs on MySpace, and I was like, that is fucking huge. Yes, I will. So we just got into it that way. And that band, the guy, there's a main dude called Hayato, Japanese dude. He's the singer, but he also writes the stuff. And it was kind of like, I just play what he tells me to play.
Yeah.
Minus maybe a little change live, or I got to write a solo at one point, which no one should go and listen to, because I'm pretty sure it's probably not that great. But yeah, so I think I probably played inside of 10 gigs with that band.
And then you auditioned for Monuments.
And then Monuments was, no, I was so inexperienced.
I was too, when I, hopped on the Era train. I don't think anyone in Era knew what Era was going to do, as any, like, everyone wants to make it as a musician, but I think people are kidding themselves if they just know their band's going to do something one day. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I was literally working at a bank and their bass player quit. I was like, okay. You know what I mean? It's just weird how that shit unfolds.
Yeah, completely random events. I kind of missed that too with the band as well, where there was no money and we didn't really know what to do, and just,
you're not on a
I don't miss like
a timeline. Yeah.
Yeah, now you have meetings and you have
Well,
finance.
especially nowadays, like you actually just miss roughing it in a van and hanging out with your friends.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that shit was all just magic. And from one second I was playing in this band, and then the next I was on tour with Periphery and Tesseract in Monuments just as a fill-in. But that was just like, it was kicking off. And even if I'd never done another thing with Monuments, I would have appreciated that, because it was right in like 2011. So Periphery 1 had just come out, Tesseract's first album had just come out, and I've been listening to Monuments.
Well, right. So like, what I was about to say, I heard you on the other podcast talk about how you say you got picked purely because you were like one of the only dudes doing it at the time. But that
I didn't say that.
Right. But
Brown said that.
Yeah. But it's crazy to think that, like, yeah, you guys got into it early. You know what I mean? Like, I guess I definitely remember listening to like the Bulb demos before P1 came out. So I definitely like was paying attention and trying to do the stuff on a guitar that other people were doing. But like, It is weird to think about just like basically being in a gent band before gent existed. But I think it helps too. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I wasn't, so from what I gather or can remember, it was 7string.org and Misha, Ackle, Brown, Paul from Chimp Spanner, and maybe the Viljata and Uneven Structure Boys.
Those guys, I still look at like I don't know what's happening. That is one of those things where sonically I'm like, it's sick. I have no idea how they're doing it.
It's very different.
Yeah.
So I think they were all there swapping demos, recording music, talking about 7 strings, having the conversation that we now have every day.
Right. They were like the forefathers of 7-string metal.
It's all their fault. It's all their
fault.
So I wasn't I wasn't involved with it. I got involved early, but those are the people that listened to Meshuggah and started including more technical aspects. Like I remember looking at Misha's SoundClick, and he was listing bands that I considered to be fairly rare as influences. He was like Meshuggah, Sixth, Ion Dissonance, and I was like, these are all special bands that not many people know about.
Gojira, Opeth, some of the
yeah, but I mean, even Gojira and Opeth by then were way more than like Sixth. You know, there are a lot of people that don't realize how much the early Periphery stuff owes to Sixth, because they just brought that technical shit and the melodic technical shit too. I don't believe anyone did it before them like that.
See, as an American teenager, it was definitely shoved in my face via the Sumerian bands, like when Sumerian really blew up and had Animals as Leaders, Periphery, After the Burial, Born to Rust, like all those bands. I was like, what is going on? These are crazy.
Veil Maya.
Yeah, all those bands. Wow, I can't even. Sorry to all Veil heads.
Disgusting behavior.
All those early albums, especially, like they've all kind of tapered off into their own different little sounds now, but like those early albums, they definitely laid a lot of like the hot topic teenage kids in America's path to be into this head like world.
And over here as well.
Yeah.
I remember that Veil album and the Born of Osiris album were both on YouTube in the worst quality, and I remember thinking, these guys are not like this. I haven't heard anything like this.
Yeah.
The Born of Osiris one specifically, they have a song, Abstract Art, where nothing repeats, and I can remember every single rhythm. I was completely fixated on it. I was like, this kind of has the metalcore thing, but
not.
What the fuck are they doing? Yeah. And then you later come to find out they were all about 16, 17 when that happened.
Yes, dude. Yeah. Sumerian definitely seemed like they just like talent sought the most talented metal kids in high school at that point. It was so weird. Like all those bands, they were so young. It's crazy.
Sick.
But I was super late to the Meshuggah, Carnival, Sixth. Like I was really late to all those bands because there was no outlet for me to hear them like naturally or organically through like people I was hanging out with or anything.
Well, this is pre Spotify.
Right.
This is pre.
Well, right. It's like weird to think I was listening to Periphery on a forum. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
On MySpace.
Yeah.
I mean, MySpace, at one point, MySpace was the place where I found bands. So I found my mate Boris, who drums for Betraying the Martyrs. He told me about Bulb, and I was like, yes, this is sick. And then you go and check out the MySpace, and you see who their friends are. And they're friends with Haunted Shores, who you come to find is the same fucking guy.
Yes.
Near Enough, and another dude. That was a big one for me. Finding Haunted Shores was like, oh my God. Like, I had dreams of making music like that, where you mix all this shit, the Opeth stuff and the jazzy chords and the melodic stuff and the death metal drums. And I was like, you can fully do that. Was like the example I needed. And they were killing it. They were doing it so fluently. It wasn't like they were just kind of, you know, like being shy and nervously creepy. They were just smashing it out. And I was like, oh my God. You can do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to fucking do it.
Yeah. I think you can do anything like if it's done tastefully. And that's like, that's the fun of being a musician to me, is that like, what can I just create that's so weird? You know?
Yeah. What can you, because now it's not odd to hear some metalcore band that have like trap hats and synths. But when I first heard Issues, I was like, this is super poppy R&B metalcore, fucking amazing. I've never heard anything like that. Now it's part of the fabric. Yeah. So I do mess this up, because now it's harder to be shocked by something you hear. You might hear something you've already heard before, but it's still good quality and it's new songs and stuff. But you're not gonna hear Meshuggah for the first time many times. I mean, that's just the thing. You're gonna hear Meshuggah, and now you know what Meshuggah is. There isn't another band that does. I mean, we don't need to go into it, but
especially for how long they've been doing it. Like, if you go back to their albums in, like, I think it's 88, they were just like still being Meshuggah. You know what I mean? It's insane.
Yeah, they were thrash metal Meshuggah at that point.
Yeah.
So,
but it did not take long for them to hit that F and like hit it right and like
hit the F.
Yeah, dude, it's the 8, right? 8 string.
Oh, the F, right.
Yeah.
See,
the literal note
really
F.
I really like fast thrashy Meshuggah.
Yeah.
I really like Chaos Spin.
Yeah.
I mean, you can throw any album on and I'm going to be blown away.
True.
Still.
Yeah.
It's going to have moments that I'm just like, what are they doing?
And there's still like, I turn into such an old, like, crotchety old man anytime I'm like, any kid is playing like a 7 or 8 string guitar and they're like, oh, I hate Meshuggah. And I'm just like,
it's fine. That's the way of it, isn't it? Some people can't appreciate. You have to be all right without having a like traditional melody, right? Everything's atonal and chromatic and weird. There's no choruses for you. There's probably the lyrics are probably a bit too real for most human beings, and it's not predictable. They're not making it easy for you.
No,
they're obviously incredible. But I mean, if you go to a big metal festival, people are going to know Meshuggah, but not as many people that know Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah.
Extreme, of course, but
right.
It's just the way of it.
Yeah,
and I kind of like that. I do have this kind of childish thing where it's like, I'm all right with, because I get to show people Meshuggah.
Yeah.
People say to you, I don't get it, and you go, all right, check this out. I'm gonna make you understand.
And then I'll break it down scientifically.
Yeah, I'd be like, you see how you don't know what's going on? Sick, right?
Yeah.
I heard Sixth and Meshuggah for the first time on the same day.
Dude, you probably just went home and broke down in tears because you didn't understand life anymore.
I was 16. I was high, and my mind was getting fucked up. Like, if you've listened to a bunch of 4/4 metalcore Roadrunner bands, which I still loved, and I still have a lot of time for that stuff, and then all of a sudden it's Sixth. And they're just going off on some shit you've never heard before.
Yeah.
Or I'd never heard a guitar tune that low. The first tune I heard was In Death Is Death. Da, 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 something like that. I can't fucking remember it. I'm not going to butcher it, but they were hitting accents. I'd never heard a note on that part of the grid before.
Yeah.
And it was so low and weird and like a nightmare. It was just
I love it though, because you have such a respect, and that's how it should be. You know what I mean? I think that's how we progress as guitar players, is we give respect and homage to the bands that like really did it. Like everyone's giving Era shit right now because there's Tool parts, but it's like we fucking love Tool. You know what I mean? Like,
you know what's that's fucked. I listened to Snowblood.
Yeah.
2 days ago. Well done, by the way.
Thanks.
And I did hear a bit, and I was like, oh, so they're doing Tool now.
Yeah, we are.
So it's so fun. It's so funny you brought that up.
Well, we know. It's like we're not going to be one of those bands that's like, nah, man. But like, Tool just put out its first album in like 10 years the other day. You know, like 2 years ago now. But you know what I mean? Like they came back. They put all their music out streamable for the first time in their careers, which was huge. We were on tour at the time, and we just ripped Tool that whole tour. And when you're on tour with your band, and that's like when everyone's together and your creative juices are flowing, it had an influence. But it's because like we all shared connections via that music. So it's like, yeah, it spoke through to our music.
It's a thing.
Yeah,
you can't. What are you gonna do?
It's also funny that like, you know, it's like this is Era's attempt at something Tool would do, but it's not Tool, and it's Era because it's the band. You know, it's just people have such a weird, closed-minded view on stuff.
Well, we're not going to spend too much time on that.
Yeah,
because it's not going anywhere. And
that's very true. Yeah. The toxicity.
Change shit.
Our genre is basically one giant YouTube comment thread, and it's amazing. Yeah,
and I'm now. I actually don't know if I ever cared, and I'll be honest, I was definitely kind of kid who would see something on YouTube that I thought was shit and just tell people I thought it was shit. I don't know why. It was a natural reaction. It's stupid. It's what kids do. If you still do that now and you're an adult, have a word with yourself. But because I just put out a song 3 or 4 days ago, and I'm reading through the comments. I'm interested.
We all do.
Yeah, people want to. Outside of the fact that people want to know where they can stream it, where they can do this, where they can that. I'm interested. It's like it's a day, and then you see one or two who took the time out of their day just to tell you how you failed to do what you were trying to do. It doesn't work. It wasn't good. The mix isn't good. It's a shame. Like shit like that.
It's like a cashier at a gas station who like has no place to say anything ever.
It is what it is, but I just find it funny, and I remind myself that I did that. I have done that.
Yeah.
I would see a guy playing guitar on YouTube in 2005, and I'd be like, nah, not really. What is it? What's it achieving?
Yeah. Makes you feel good for a second, I guess.
It is what it is, but any traffic is good traffic, and I'm beyond the point. Maybe if I put a song out when I've been playing guitar for a year and people start slating it, maybe it'd get to me. But
I care less than I think everyone else in my band, and I care less than I used to as well. The way you said it, like any reaction is positive. It's like any news is good news, or any media, you know, whatever the saying is. But it's like, I think when I start to get hurt is when someone's like trashes on your song and no one defends you. But 9 times out of 10, someone's like, you're wrong, this song is sick. And I'm like, you go, man. You show him what's up.
What interests me is when, if someone goes, yo, this is fucking shit, or yo, this isn't metal, or whatever, I don't care. What probably gets me more is if someone's very articulate and they describe exactly the reasons why, and I'm like,
well, so
making it sound like a good point.
Jesse has said this before too. The comments that hurt him are the ones that touch on stuff he's already like a little sensitive about. Like maybe he could have done that better before the comment was made, and then the comment gets made and it's like,
right, but that's always going to be a thing. I mean, we all get that. Like sometimes I'll submit a mix, and classically with me, it's like, is it too much treble in these guitars? And then I'll see. I mean, the reception so far for Try has been very positive, but 1 or 2 dudes are just like, man, I can't even hear the guitar. I'm like, is he right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lose sleep over it.
Yeah, good. It's a healthy way to be.
I still lose sleep though.
Just not over that comment.
No, but I brought it up. So if he's out there, well done, mate.
You killed it. If you could not play music at all, what do you think you'd be doing with your life? I guess, AKA this year, if you weren't putting out single stuff.
Something creative.
Okay.
I think the natural thing to do would be something visual media. I can't draw, so that's fucked. Sucks because I really wanted to be able to draw, but I cannot. Maybe making videos.
Okay.
In whatever form that takes.
What did you go to college for, if you don't mind me asking?
Contemporary guitar performance.
Oh, really? See,
yeah.
that stuff like doesn't exist over here. It's like, oh, are you
not?
going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a businessman? Go. It's like, all right.
It was 2 separate years. One was a diploma and one was a slightly harder diploma. But it's not a higher diploma. It was like this weird in-between, almost made-up thing that they only did for a couple of years and then they stopped doing it.
Weird.
So it was very much the same thing. I remember doing the second one and feeling like this is just harder. The information's harder, but it's kind of structurally the same thing.
Right.
And I failed both years.
Sick, dude. Well, you showed them, I think. You really showed them.
Well, I've since been back to do a couple of masterclasses, which was fun.
In turn, truly showing them what's what.
Ish. I mean, I'm still on good terms with the teachers. I still reach out to them. These are the guys that gave me the fucking tools.
So how come you failed? Obviously, you had to have been passionate about it, right?
Oh, I just didn't like go to certain exams like an idiot.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I dropped out of high school, and I think they were like doing everything. Like looking back, they were doing everything in their power to help me. Like I had like 8 classes throughout the day. You had like your 3 core classes or whatever, but then I think I played guitar for like 4 hours out of the 8-hour day, and I still dropped out. And they were like, "Dude, what are you doing?" I was like, "I just got to do this."
It's not gonna gain you anything to like reflect on that shit.
Oh yeah.
And at the end of the day, we are where we are, right? So for better or worse, this is the way we have. And also, you can't like the decisions you make. I think it's a little fucked up that the decisions you can make when you're like 16, 17. Like I'm an idiot now. Like 16.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean,
I would say to anyone listening, if you're studying, just try and do the exams.
Yeah.
Top tip.
I would also tell them that, but we're also 2 very terrible examples of that. It's just so funny. But you're right. I mean, they try to nail that in when you're 16. They're like, "Hey, this stuff matters. This is important." But you're like, "Dude, I'm 16, bro. Like, this can't matter." Yeah. You know,
I still took. I mean, from college, I took a lot of the things that I took from there became the foundation of whatever it is I can do now. And like I was just saying, every so often, maybe once a year or something, I'll check in with these guys if I have a question or whatever. Now that I teach, I might hit up my teachers about certain. Teaching is a completely different skill.
It is. I enjoy teaching. I do it every once in a while. It's definitely never been my main income, so it's hard to drive me to do it very often. But I actually enjoy teaching because it makes me better, which is super, selfish and egotistical. But
no, it's cool.
When
it keeps you sharp.
It does when you're and
it makes you creative as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might not have an answer. I try and get a feel for what we're going to work on beforehand, and sometimes, you might get to a point where you're like, okay, I actually haven't spent too much time in this area, so I'm going to.
And then you spend time on it. Yeah.
Delve a little deeper, because at this point, I feel like I've kind of touched upon enough to help anyone.
Right.
Unless you have a very specific need, like if you want to learn how to play through changes in a fusion style like Guthrie Govan, I can't help you because I haven't kept those. I don't know how to play through changes. Like I don't.
Or you at least probably mentally understand it and can walk someone through it. But
if someone explains it to me, I can go, yeah, cool, that makes sense. If they play it, it makes so much sense up here. But it's a completely different skill.
You enjoy teaching?
Yeah.
Like talking about the skill itself, like actually like kind of like shepherding someone along a journey.
Yeah, I like shepherding. Certain lessons can be harder than others. Certain people learn differently.
Yeah.
one of the main things is you need to have like a bunch of ways to say one thing, because sometimes the natural way for you to explain something to someone, they might not get it.
Doesn't resonate.
So you need to have different angles, and you need to be able to talk in a language that they understand, or give examples, blah blah blah. So
that's what a lot of poor teachers don't understand. Like, as humans growing up, we've all had amazing teachers and terrible teachers, and they'll typically have their one way of speaking, and it just doesn't resonate with you, and you're like, why is this so hard?
It's pretty improvisational.
Yeah.
And you have to, what I find anyway, that, you know, when you catch that someone's excited by something you're saying, we're going to go down here now. Yeah. I'm not going to be like, well, stay on course. Depending on the situation, I want them to come away from it feeling like, you know, inspired, like they enjoyed it, like they learned something, and ultimately that, you know, they could come back because it's still a job.
Yep.
So yeah, it's different all the time.
I also enjoy the connection you make with students too. You know, you start to, you know, appreciate your time with that specific person and see them often, and also nice to. And you
get to know that.
It's also good to know that you're offering some information that you lacked when you were growing up too. Like you said,
that's the funnest bit. That's the funnest bit. Being able to go, okay, it took me 10 years to work out this thing, so I'm just going to tell you now.
Yeah.
And you're going to go and be sicker.
Do you think
that stuff's really fun?
I hope time travel exists so we can go back and teach ourselves guitar. That'd be tight.
Dude, if that happens, well, if we all have access to it, it won't matter. But if only I have access to time travel, me and you, and we start a band in 2000, even just 10 years earlier,
it will rip, dude.
No one will know what the fuck's going on.
That's true. It'll actually probably flunk hard because everyone's like, I don't understand what you're doing.
It'll be too ahead. Things need to evolve slowly. But that's fine, because we could come out in 2000, and then we could come out in 2000 with metalcore. And we could be like, see, what we're doing is we're mixing a Swedish sound with like more of an American thing.
So essentially we'd just be going back in time with like knowledge of the stock market and getting rich off of it, basically.
Yeah, because we know what the movements are beforehand. So we're gonna do everything 5 years prior and just continually blow everyone's mind.
I just want to go back in time and tell myself to use my pinky more often, because
all that.
Yeah. That's like it's so funny. Like anytime now I teach guitar, I'm like, let's start using our pinky first and foremost, because like I was definitely the guitar player at a younger age that would do like the insane runs without using my pinky for no reason.
I was this guy.
Oh, that's way worse. There's a special place in hell.
But I didn't have multiple things. I was only playing single note bass lines, really.
Oh, right. Yep. Well, I mean, like getting into more, like I think I was attempting solos with like these 3 fingers. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's horrible.
I mean, many people do. Andy James makes it work. You tell him he can't shred.
Yeah.
He shreds.
That dude shreds.
He's the best. He's like the best metalcore kind of shredder.
Had no idea he was British, by the way.
And then when you hear him talk, he's the most British.
I just never did, you know. And he looks like someone who'd play in like Black Label Society, you know, someone from like Alabama.
Yeah, he's metal as fuck.
Yeah. It caught me. I met him at NAMM last year, and he spoke. I was like, wait,
and he was like,
wait, what? Hello, how are you? It's like, yeah, it's just super weird. He did not talk like that. That was just a.
I was gonna say. He's just joined Five Finger Death Punch.
I saw that. Insane. Also an American band that's very. Right? Yeah. They're like a military band.
Big.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very big.
We have a little section as a guitar playing podcast where we have to talk about the gear we use, because otherwise no one would listen.
Wicked, man.
Oh, you're so excited. Do you not care about gear at all?
It's not that I don't care at all. I just don't enjoy recreationally chatting about it. There's something missing that a lot of other people have where they're excited about it. I found the thing that works for me, and I really don't care about what anyone else has. So I don't ask people. There's something about this genre of music where people love it, right?
I love it, dude.
But I've been using the same pick, the same strings, the same fucking everything.
All right, well, just give me a rundown. Okay, what do you use?
I use Ibanez guitars. I'm endorsed. This is my drop C boy. It was the closest one to me. I use bare knuckle pickups if and when. So if a guitar comes stock with something that does what I need it to, I won't change them. What else is going on?
Aren't you like a little... See, I think this is what drives me. Aren't you scared that there could be something you're doing better?
Doing better?
Like you said, you're not nerdy about gear because you found what works for you. But like, what if something would work better for you? Like, it doesn't.
Well, I am kind of reaching that point with a couple of aspects. Just as mixes keep coming back, and I'm starting to wish there was a bit more space in these frequencies and that frequencies. But I think that can come from maybe updating my monitors, because I've had like these KRKs for a long time and they just soften everything and they're not that honest. They're great. Things like that. But it is true that if you know how to dial shit in, you're okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, like, I personally think you can get most of the this is along the vein of what you're saying, and people would crucify me, but like, if you have a graphic EQ on your digital amp, like, you can get the tone you want to get, you know what I mean?
I mean, why not? Obviously you need stuff from the source, but if you have one of the main trio of processors,
right,
you're probably going to be all right.
Are you still using heads live?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So we use Hughes and Kettner triamps or triamps, which have three. What do they have? They have 3 channels, but each channel has like 2 channels, so you end up with 6-ish. You can tell that I don't really know. They're sick. No, it's kind of like a mix. What is that?
That sounded great to me.
It works. It works. So I don't care. Our mix engineer likes it. I like it. Brown likes it. What else do we need to do?
Right. Well, I mean, a lot of people even, like, I don't know many bands who use heads anymore. You know what I mean?
For sure. I mean, for me, live is essential.
Why is that?
Just the feel and response, the digital thing. I'm just not comfortable doing that live. I've only done it twice. Once I borrowed an Axe Effects for a Cyclamen gig, which wasn't dialed in for me, and I had no idea what I was doing.
Well, I don't think you can borrow anything live and make an opinion on it, because I can't borrow someone else's guitar head live. Like, I would just butcher my set, I think.
Yeah. But again, it's this thing, it's not broke, and it's better than what we had before.
Yes.
So yeah, the triamps, the way Brown describes them is like a mix between a Mesa and a 5150, and I would agree. So it has a bit of that dry grind.
I feel like that's how he describes everything.
Fair. Well, I mean, I agree in this instance.
Yeah.
So that they're cool. The company have hooked us up a lot. They also have some mini lunchbox heads, or I don't know if they're called lunchbox, but like mini heads that are sick. We've taken those to like South Africa and Australia, and so you can just put them on your back.
Yeah, I'm running the Rev lunchbox right now.
Okay, cool. And I use these picks.
The green guys. Where's
my camera? 0.88. Because they're hard.
Hey, me too.
You do? Do you use the pointy ones?
Oh, never mind. 0.73 for me. No, actually, I use a jazz pick, but I feel like thickness is everything.
Yeah, for sure. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So these have enough attack, but they have just enough give so that I can flow and like not too much fatigue. I've been with these for a long time now. Depending on recording situations, I might mix and match for a certain part. Like, everyone does that shit. But yeah, these are the ones for me. Hughes and Kettner strings, DR strings.
Okay.
And Line 6 Helix for recording anything, basically.
Really? Well, so do you not suffer from the same tactile feeling, or do you just need that in a live sitting?
Just in a live situation.
Okay.
Huh. But we've done a Monuments. The last Monuments tune was with amp, and the album prior to that was with an amp.
Well, the way you guys record, do you later reamp, or do you just DI straight Line 6?
We've done so there are 2 albums that have a pod tone. The Brown just did those albums, right? So that's that. We used a 6505 on our 3rd album, and then the following single was the same tone. The new music, well, there's some new music that's helixy. There will be more new music that might be ampy. I think probably go ampy. I'm trying not to give too many things away.
Ampy and helixy.
It's going to be a mix. It's going to be a mix.
Yeah.
But live, all about the amps. We kind of do what we need to do to make that happen. I know I'm going to be forgetting something.
I mean, you've pretty much covered
bare knuckle pickups. Yada yada.
He's and Kettner cabs as well, or?
Yeah, their cabs are sick. Very Mesa E.
Yeah, I like Mesa cabs a lot. I think you guys were using Laney on that tour. You guys came to the States.
Yeah, we were.
Period.
I got it done. No, we used those for a few years. We must have used those for like 3-4 years. They were pretty popular at that time. Killswitch. They put out this flyer with me, Brown, and then Adam and Joel from Killswitch, and that was like, and I was like, "Mom, come here and look at this." It was my quote.
I did it, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See that? You see that shit? Yeah, they worked. There are things that like the Hughes and Kettner kind of voiced closer to what we want. But yeah, they were cool. I got a lot of work out of those.
So how do you? I know I was gonna try to fly through the gear section, but this is just my nerdiness showing. How do you get the tone you want? Do you run pedals? Do you run like a tube screamer, overdrive, that kind of stuff? Because it's kind of hard to get the tone we need for our genre. Just slam through an amp.
So live, we used to use amps and pedals, hard pedals, and then Brown hooked up this crazy fucking situation where we effectively use the pedals on the Helix to shape the amp tone.
Okay.
So the EQ, the effects from the Helix, basically.
So you're basically using Helix as like a multi-effect board.
Exactly.
With your
cleans, reverbs, delays, compression, boost pedal, EQ. I think I probably said EQ twice. Gate.
Cleans? You don't use the amps clean at all?
We use the amps cleans, but we use the compression and the delay.
Delay and reverb from
this is all shit that Brown hooked it up because he knows how to
No, I get exactly what you're saying. I understand, yeah.
And then at home, just get the most direct metal sounding amp, which on the Helix is the Badonk model. And then just hook it up like you would
Badonk?
Because it's based on the Line 6 big bottom.
That's amazing.
So yeah.
Okay.
Which Misha used to use. I think Ackle probably used to use. I know Brown used to use it. It was like the one.
What brand was that again?
For me, it's the one of these. Huh?
What brand was that? The big bottom?
That's pod stuff, but I don't know which pod it was because I never had a pod.
Oh, so it's not like okay. I
can't remember the name of it.
Well, most digital amps just rip like the sound of 6505, but in the digital world they call it like the 6121. Well. Okay.
But so it has rev stuff and it has a Horizon drive, precision drive, and it has Fender shit and box shit. Obviously, it's called different shit, but the big bottom is like the Line 6 amp, and it's just very direct, not very noisy. It's very responsive and tight, and like I need that.
Have you played through a Kemper?
Yeah.
I feel like it's the most responsive digital amp in the world. Besides,
so I would need to own one because the two experiences I've had with it are just a little odd because I'm just not used to it yet.
Yeah.
So maybe when it comes to the profiling or the dialing in, I was very aware of how different it was. We used it on my mate Murray has an EP that I wrote with him.
And then you've tried Neural, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Neural feels crazy.
I feel like I'm just into the Helix. Like everything I try at home, even if it feels good or not, I'm really into the Helix.
Yeah.
The neural stuff, the neural.
Nice guys, we got him talking about something he's happy with. He's passionate about his Helix.
Yeah, I'm into it. The neural stuff feels cool. The Nolly one, I was very impressed with the. Took me a second to dial it in, but when I finally understood what was going on, it did feel and sound very ampy. It's quite real. So I did like that Kill Switchy song. I did like a gear demo for them. I don't know if you've seen it, but
they just released a Gojira one, and I have to get my hands on it.
Yeah, I might need that.
let me hold that for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, I might be. I mean, I'm actually at the point now where I am kind of up for trying new stuff. But I'm not going to reroute everything just to make something fit, because at the end of the day, every time I come back to the Helix, it's the one that works the most.
Fair.
So unless something sick falls out of the sky, I'm not going to go and buy a Kemper to try it. I'm not going to go buy an Axe 3 to try it, because that's money I could be spending on getting mixes done or whatever. So it's just like, right now shit's working.
Yeah, I get that 100%. I'm kind of the same way. Like, I've been using the same Kemper patch since I bought one 6 years ago.
What are you're on Axe Specs or Kemper?
Kemper.
Okay.
And it's the profile of a Paul Reed Smith Archon.
Okay.
Love it. Every time I try something different, I'm like happy, and then I try my old way, and I'm like, well, shit. It's just still so sick.
The thing is, though, like when I first before I was using the Helix, I was using Guitar Rig 5, which I got used to. And then when I got the Helix, I was like, is this better? Just because it felt different. But now I'm used to it. I think you can get it. It's just what you're used to is such a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And I could, if I played your guitar through this shit, it'd probably feel and sound horrific to me. I wouldn't be able to pull off any of the shit I need to do.
Yeah. And
your pickups and what you go for and how you like your
touching back on the idea of borrowing someone's gear for a live show is like my worst nightmare. I would just, one time we were playing a show, I can't even remember what city we were on, but it was the Sumerian 10-year tour, and we were with a band called Bad Omens. It's like a heavy rock band. Like, they're not.
I know them.
Yeah.
They have a tune. Fuck.
They're very Bring Me, like very, very Bring Me.
Yeah, you can tell.
Oh.
What that you can tell they like Bring Me. Right?
My Kemper, for some reason, randomly has like power issues and just refuses to function some days. It's great. I love it. I have a very, very early Kemper. Like they had just rolled out the first model ever, and I bought one. So I'm gonna blame it on that. But they let me borrow their 6505, and I've never played through a real amp in my life on tour.
Wow.
How crazy.
That's the way it is now.
Yeah.
Many people. I mean,
when I switched to guitar on your tour, the tour you were on, that was my first tour on guitar ever. Me and Jesse were sharing one Axe Effects, and it was the vocalist at the time's Axe Effects. Like, we were that rough in it.
I remember this now. Now that you bring that up, I remember there was an era Axe Effects.
Yes.
That's funny.
I was one tone and Jesse was another tone, and we split it and went to separate sides of the front of house, and
so good.
Wild times. But so like that, like I literally was just introduced into the world of digital amps from the get-go. But I played that 6505, and it was one of the best feeling shows of my life.
Well, that's the thing, man. The response is different. I don't
even think that day it was the response. It was just like, it literally felt like there was a lion growling at me out of the cab. Like, it was just so mean.
No, that's what I mean. So not just the attachment to the tone, but also the feeling of it in your back.
Okay, that I understand that a lot more than I was thinking. Like, when I think of feel and digital, it's like the response of my fingers hitting the fret note coming from like any speaker. So I guess I get what you're saying.
It's more of a full body thing.
Yeah.
Because the low end is going to travel on the stage. You can feel it under your feet. And if you have a monitor in front of you, now you're getting hit in the face and in the back. Like, you're so much more. I mean, to me, it's just not the same.
Well, so we've switched to in-ears as of like a couple of years ago, and we completely got rid of cabs, and it hurts my soul a lot. Because, I mean, if you take a digital amp and run it through a massive power amp and slam it out of a cab, you get that feeling, I feel.
So they say. I haven't felt that yet. I'm not going to go out there and say, because they still make amps.
They do make.
I think if the world decided that the Axe 2 felt just like an amp, because that's what they'll say out of the gate.
Well, let's be real too. If our genre decided to ditch amps, the amp companies, the amp worlds would be okay because they're still blues, they're still country, they're still pop.
Yeah, no, of course. I'm sure one day we'll look at like a stack and we'll be like, man, we used to fucking drag those things around. It could happen. I'm sure.
Oh, it's happened for me for sure. Like not having to take a head upstairs and load in. Yeah.
No, but I mean in the same way that when's the last time you bought a DVD? I'm talking about that kind of thing where it's like that we don't do that anymore. Like humans don't. I'm sure that could happen, but I don't think it's right now.
At that point, I doubt I'd have a stack of them in my house.
You'd have a what?
I doubt I would have a stack of amps in my house. I'd probably look at an old picture and be like, "Oh, I remember those."
Yeah. I mean, I'd be down. It's one less thing to carry, but people have to do what works for them.
Well, hey man,
it's called Burning Out, by the way. That's the Bad Omens tune that I like.
Okay. Shout out Bad Omens. You guys are cool. We know those dudes really well. Those guys are actually really nice, cool dudes. Actually, their guitar player has tattooed me. He's like a very, very good tattoo artist.
What'd you call that old medieval fucking mace?
Just a spiky stick, I think. No,
do you want to explain that? Or
it's a mace. There's actually a difference between a mace and a morning star. I can't remember. I think a mace has a chain, or it could be the other way around.
What's on your arm forever?
Yeah, a spiky stick, dude. We've already been through this.
Sick.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
He also did my Saitama, which is like my favorite tattoo I have.
He's from an anime. Who is he?
Saitama.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's his name. But he's from One Punch Man.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to guess.
So I suppose you could say he's the One Punch Man.
Okay.
But his name is Saitama, to show my true nerdiness.
Is it? Well, if I ask you if it's a good show, you're gonna say yes, obviously. But
it's my favorite anime. There's many reasons, because it's a satire. It's like it basically makes fun of anime while being a very diehard anime, which is funny to me.
Cool.
Yeah, like it's a comedy basically, but you get all the insane action you would have gotten from like watching Dragon Ball Z as a kid. You know?
Okay.
Because that was a great feeling. Like,
but is the situation? I mean, I might be wrong, but no one and nothing can handle a punch from this guy.
Right. Yes.
So where is the challenge?
Well, it's like it's a play on Dragon Ball Z. No one could beat Goku. Why do we keep watching?
Right.
So.
Well, people have beaten Goku before.
Just so he could come back and beat him again. Like that's the whole thing. Like that's the satire, right? Like we all watch anime even though we know the main character is always going to win. That's like the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check it out at some point. I've been spending a lot of time at home recently, so.
Have you? Why? What's going on?
Just there's this whole thing. I don't know if you read the news, but
I definitely don't read the news. I'll tell you that.
It'll probably be fine in like a week.
Okay.
Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, I miss real amps. I miss cabs. I miss all that. But when you have load in and you load one rack in and you're done, it's a pretty great feeling.
I'd be up for that. Sure. Yeah. We're just used to it. It could easily happen one day.
Well, we weren't used to in-ears, but our live performance, like we're a way tighter band than we ever have been. And even though it feels weird, like live, you watch back videos and you're like, well, you can't argue that. Like everyone's on this electric heart rhythm machine that we just feel live, you know? Like when everyone hears the same click at the same time, things happen, you know what I mean?
I think we moved to in-ears 2018 and the result is, I mean, I think we were pretty tight beforehand, not trying to toot my own horn, but...
No, I felt the same way. Like,
yeah.
Before in-ears, you feel like you're as tight as you can get. And then you get in-ears.
Well, you probably are as tight as you can get at that point.
Yeah.
But then it's like, wow. Because you can remove elements that you don't need. I don't need bass. I don't need vocals.
Well, then, so how did you deal with the loss of feeling? Because when you wear in-ears, or did you wear earplugs all the time? Like, were you...
I wore earplugs.
Okay.
I still feel the bassiness of the amp, and I still need to turn the amp up to a certain point to get it to sound good.
Which is probably higher than it used to, right?
What do you mean? Well, no, the amp has like a certain point where beyond that it sounds good. Like things start, it's really burning the tubes or whatever.
Okay,
That's about as much of the science as I know. But
do you mic cabs?
Yeah.
Okay, so like even the tone you're getting in your in-ears is derived from the cab on stage.
Yeah, it's like a direct line from the mic. But the difference being, I only have click, drums, and brown in my left, and I'm in the right. So now I can hear exactly how hard he's muting something or backing off the muting.
Do you have him equal level with you in your ears?
Maybe just a little bit less.
Okay. Dude, I slam Jesse straight out of my mix. I don't want to hear that, dude.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, for me, because with us, I mean, if there's tuning stuff or whatever, also because there's sometimes we do stuff tight, sometimes we do stuff a bit loose in terms of where the palm is. And now I can actually hear what's happening with that. It's cool. And we're so much tighter. We got sent a live recording from India recently. Someone had done a quick mix of it. And I was like, right, so that was our first time playing Animus, new song, fresh off the plane, jet lagged. I don't want to hear it. And then when I heard it back, I was like, fair enough.
Well, and also you're so like when you hear a mess up live, because you hear your mess ups, you want to die. and you think it's the worst thing on earth, and then you hear like a video played back and you're like, oh, it's great, it's fine, it's
yeah. I was surprised, and I was like, that's the power of the in-ears, because you're always connected.
Yeah,
you're not at the mercy of the room. You're not, it's it.
Well, so to simulate the room feeling for me, I play with one ear out, which is terrible for me. Even for like,
don't do that.
I know, I'm going to. No, nothing you say will stop me.
All right.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go deaf in one ear eventually. It's gonna be great.
You don't just put it in. Just fucking put it in.
I already told you.
People kill them. They'll go crazy and kill themselves because of tinnitus. Because morning, noon, and night, you just have a.
Yeah, you just tune it out eventually. It's fine.
I just told you people kill themselves. You can't tune it out.
Yeah, but no, I'm not gonna say what I was about to say. Never mind.
I bet it was dark.
It was very dark, which most of my crowd know how dark I am, and it's fine. But I need to start being politically correct at some point in my life. Dude, I'm gonna play with one ear out because it's the only way I can have a good show. So, and I'll
do what you gotta do.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. That's all I wanted to hear. So, at the end of the day, we're here on Twitch, which is a video game platform, first and foremost. Are you a gamer at all?
Yeah.
You do? What do you play?
I don't like that title. I play video games sometimes.
No, you're a gamer boy. You're a PogChamp.
No, because you look like a gamer.
Whoa! This is getting really aggressive.
No, I just mean that's what, like, when I think gamer,
you mean over-the-ear headphones? You don't wear these when you track live or track?
Not with a Britney mic, not with a Britney mic attached and a fucking anime character hanging off the thing.
Well, that's fair.
To be fair, I have a gigantic poster of a video game right in front of me. You just can't see it.
I'm so much cooler looking than you, Ollie. I don't even...
That's fine by me. I can take it. I'm a gamer.
There, doesn't that feel better?
No. I'm gonna be 30 in March.
Hey man, I'm right behind you.
I'm not gonna stop.
Dude, you shouldn't. You should leave that in-ear out for the rest of your life. What are you playing?
Oh, absolutely not. It's not worth it.
What does this gamer boy play?
Currently Sackboy. Where is it? Where's my boy?
Sackboy.
He's one of the characters from Little Big Planet, I want to say. This is a tidy little platformer. This is a quality platformer. This thing has a sick soundtrack, sick graphics. It's just fun. It's like joyful to play. It's like Nintendo vibes, but by PlayStation.
Yeah.
There's also like, there's a level where they've clearly licensed the Bruno Mars tune because you got and all the characters in the background are doing this. And you're just playing like, it's so sick. Budget's there, color scheme is there, design is there, challenge is there. Very satisfied. It's sick.
You like platformers?
I do.
Everyone's trying to get me on the Hollow Knight train. Have you?
That was
Yeah.
the next thing I was gonna say.
Yeah.
You have to do it.
Okay.
But the thing is, if people push things in your face too much, you don't want to do it. Like, I just haven't watched Game of Thrones. Because shut up about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to.
Well, it's probably gotten better lately, right? Like, it kind of fell off the planet pretty fast.
Well, it's stopped.
Right.
Has it not?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe I will one day, but I don't want to, like, everyone's doing this thing. We go, like, I haven't seen Making a Murderer, and I haven't seen Stranger Things, and maybe one day I will. But when everyone's, do you not feel that when everyone's saying,
I do, but it sounds like you're just like very adamant,
trying to be
like, I've seen all those things just because I can't help it. You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of falls.
Well, I'm down, but there's something about you want to be in the right frame of mind. It's the same with music, man. Like, you can suggest things to me or whatever, but I feel like I need to find things in my own time a lot of the time. But having said that, you're going to turn this off right now and buy Hollow Knight.
Well, no.
No, Hollow Knight.
No, I mean, to that degree, no.
I'll gift it to you.
Well, all right. On what?
The platform of your choice.
Okay.
Good sir. It's a sick game.
Is it on PC? If it's on PC, I'll just start playing it.
I believe it's on PC, Mac, Switch, PS4, Xbox.
But don't I want it
worldwide
on a controller? Well, I'm an idiot. Never mind. I can play a controller with my PC. I just literally... That was so ungamer of me.
Sick. That's a game it's really quality. Every aspect of
I'm a massive Dark Souls nerd, and everyone tells me that it's like the platform version of Dark Souls. The way
I would say it's like a 2D Dark Souls. There's some similarities there. Okay. There's a lot of emphasis on bosses. There's like 60 of them.
Yeah, that's sick.
And there's a lot of hard challenge. The exploration is huge. There's a lot of sick. It is like a 2D Metroidvania Dark Souls. It doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't really tell you what the fuck anything is. There's a lot to collect. There's a lot to go around. The music is incredible, and the vibe and the animation, it took me over. I've played it like 3 times.
Okay.
I really recommend it. And it's like 12 quid.
Fair. That's the only reason you're giving it to me.
It starts slow. It doesn't start like Uncharted. You're not going to start falling out of a fucking helicopter or something. It starts a little bit slow, and it's hard, and it doesn't tell you what the fuck anything is.
The way you are about people recommending everything, I don't love blockbuster games. Like, it's hard for me to get into like the God of War, the Uncharted. Like, I can't care about it. It just feels like except for the Last of Us.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Well, that game was like insane.
God of War is one of the most technically astonishing things you'll ever see.
Okay.
It just is. Like, I've just never seen anything like that in terms of how hard they're pushing the console.
The reason I don't like those games is because I feel like they're so story driven. They're holding your hand too much. Like, I like freedom within a game.
Gears of War, God of War, sorry, the remake or the rebranding, the PS4 version.
Yeah, the new one that's Norse or whatever.
Yeah, it's heavily inspired by Dark Souls.
Damn it.
So there is a story, but you can go off and do what you want. There's bosses, there's challenge. You got to think. Sekiro is the other thing that completely took me over. I fucking love that game.
So you like the Soul series? You like Bloodborne, Dark Souls?
I love Sekiro. I've played with my mate. I watched him play.
Dude, Sekiro is like harder than Dark Souls to me.
Well, this is the argument. There are things you can do in Sekiro that you can't do in Dark Souls. You can like hide from enemies, and you're quicker, you're more responsive. But also, you have to learn. You have to play the game the way the game wants you to play it. For the most part, I mean, people can hack and cheese and shit, but it's quick, it's ninja, split second.
No, I played Sekiro. I loved it. I loved it.
So
yeah. But it's like playing a 7-string and not caring about Meshuggah. It's like you have to play Dark Souls.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've seen all of Dark Souls 3. I think I've watched too much Bloodborne footage for me to enjoy playing it at this point, which might be a shame, because it looks incredible. But yeah, Sekiro's sick. I quite like hard games. Cuphead is a banger.
Yeah, I haven't played that one yet.
It's a fucking banger. That's it. I'm really just waiting for the Hollow Knight sequel.
Oh, is there one coming? Like, there's already news of it?
They announced it in February 2019 with gameplay footage and all this shit.
Well, right. They did the same thing for Diablo 4 3 years ago.
Right. Yeah. I saw that actually.
I love Diablo.
Diablo 2 is a big love of mine. A real big love.
You love it? Dude, you should check out Path of Exile.
That's like Diablo Light to me.
Well, right. It's the devs of Diablo 2 went off and made their own game. That's why.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I was going to say, because they did nail a lot of the vibe.
Yes. So the reason they did that is because Diablo 3 is a lot more blockbustery and was more catered to
World of Warcraft cartoon. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of Diablo nerds didn't like it. And then they've now, I mean, dude, Path of Exile is free, first off.
Yeah.
And they release an expansion like every 2 months on the dot. Like it's you get content.
I've been playing it with a mate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What fucks me off is that gold doesn't drop on the floor.
Well, there is no economy, right? It's
Give me
yeah.
the fucking gold, dude.
Well, then you want to go play Diablo 3 and chase a treasure goblin because that's like the most satisfying thing on earth.
And I think it's got the same sounds,
yeah,
the same samples, because that was very vibe. Yeah, 3 just didn't have the same vibe as 2. It wasn't as gory. It wasn't as dark.
Yeah, which I think they're trying to go back to that with 4. Have you seen the video?
Looks like
Have you seen the demos of 4? It looked awesome.
Yeah, I saw jumping, and I think I saw someone riding a horse.
So sick.
But they could just because Steam does this fucking thing where a lot of games you can play them on Windows but not Mac. Yeah. So if they just give me a playable version on Mac of Diablo 2 and Age of Empires 2, you'll never see me again. You'll never have to see me again.
You just buy a laptop.
That's a simple solution.
Okay.
That's basic.
Yes, got it. Man, I didn't know you were a gamer, dude. That's sick.
Yeah. I just don't I don't like stream or anything.
Yeah, which
but if people ask me, I tell them.
A lot of people have been, especially from our world, have been gravitating towards streaming, aka what I'm doing right now. I like it for a sense of community. That's how I started, as it. But it's also just like, when's the last time you? Oh, well, I mean, teaching, you definitely make connections with your fans, but like making connections with fans and people that you would normally see at shows and stuff. It's hard this year.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about it, but I don't want to. Playing guitar in front of people just kind of stresses me out. So I would stream for. I know that's probably sounds pretty ironic. I don't think it's more fun playing on stage, blaringly loud, or by myself, my own leisure. Like that's the one. But teaching and stuff, I feel a great sense of like. I need to be on the ball because, this person's paid me because they think I can help them. So if I'm just being lazy and sloppy or whatever, which is like the most fun way to play in a weird way. It sounds stupid, but
no.
Anyway.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
If I was going to stream, I'd probably do game. Like I would easily just blast through a Hollow Knight or
there's so many people who would love that, dude.
You reckon?
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, I'll probably have to look into it at some point. Mike does it. Brown might do it. Dan Tompkins is doing it.
Yeah, Dan's killing it. He does. Which when they did that like live music playthrough of all of them and their own like little Twitch setups, that was so sick. But yeah, there's plenty of musicians just playing games on Twitch right now, and it's not about you playing guitar because at the end of the day, if they want to hear you play guitar, they'll listen to your music. But it's more of like
yeah. I just don't like when I see music. I've seen a few musicians when it seems like they just kind of run their tunes. Which fair enough, you do what works for you, and if people want to watch that, sick. But that doesn't really interest me.
Yeah.
Games would be very easy, like, smashing through a Sekiro or a Hollow Knight or fuck it. Do you ever play? This is a random one, maybe, but Jack 2 on PS2. Fuck. It was
no, I missed the entire PS2 thing. I came in at PS4 actually. I was an Xbox guy.
We should move on. You just pissed me off.
You know what got me into the PlayStations? was the Dead Space franchise.
Dead Space is fucking sick. I would play through
So
Dead Space
sick.
for sure.
Yeah.
1 and 2, 3. We don't need to talk about it, but those games are fucking sick.
Yeah.
But I do have a gripe with 2. I think 2 is sick, but you see how this is really picky. You see how the red, what do you call the fucking red dot? The
Retina.
the laser. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
From the 3-pronged like slicey fucking what's it called? It's called a.
It was like the slice pistol, I think, was the.
It's not called the slice pistol. I'm pretty sure it's like a mining tool. It's like a mining laser or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, it had 3 dynamic red dots. So if you were around a corner, one would.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
They were separate. And then in 2, it was just 3 white dots stuck into the center of the screen. And I was like, that was a really cool design idea. Why did you get rid of it?
Yeah.
Doesn't change the game at all, but that was a complete downgrade. And I was like, would it really have cost you that much?
Yeah.
Nerdy, but
No, I completely I do think they missed the feeling of the first one. Like the first one quite literally got me into an entirely different console because it was incredible.
yeah,
it was so much more of a horror game than it was like a shooter.
Yeah, 2 is a little bit more. 2 is a little bit more action,
and then 3 is basically just Doom.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah,
I couldn't, but 1 does have the horror thing, and the fact that all of your heads-up display is on the back,
so
all
sick,
that
dude.
shit,
So sick.
the immersion, and like when he's talking, when it's menus, it's like a graphics thing that comes out of his wrist,
and like shit still moving around you. So scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really immersive and stuff, and I'm not into the enemies that don't die and just like
the bullet sponges. Yeah.
keep coming. No, well, the ones that
Or literally.
come back.
Yeah.
That's freaking me out. Yeah, those games are incredible. I recommend Dead Space 1 and 2 to anyone.
So this is funny.
It's hard as well because it's hard to recommend an alien space shooter to someone. Like it's not just that; it's a genre-defining, stylish, lots of creativity going on. Like it's set the bar for many things.
It did, but at this point, it's an old game, and it's hard to get people into older games in general.
It's still good.
Yeah, it's amazing for sure.
Still sick. I'm glad you brought that up.
So I'm glad we brought it up too, because a hotel just got built down the street from where I live, and they just erected this massive statue in the front courtyard, like of downtown where I live, and it is quite literally the spire from that game that drove everyone mad, and
that's so
it's
sick.
Kind of got me feeling a little weird in a way. So
I want to see that. You can send me a picture of that.
I have the Chaos Spire in my town now. It's kind of weird.
Is that what it's called?
I think that's what it's called in the game. Although someone just roasted me, said it's not a retina. And
you've got like a live chat?
Yeah, people have been talking about us the whole time.
Tell him.
Well, I don't have to. They can hear you and see you.
Oh, okay. Well, you're gonna tell him.
Okay. Yep.
Tell him I'm gonna be gone for 3 seconds because I'm gonna grab a bit.
Oh, I said retina. No. Yeah. Okay. It's definitely reticle for sure.
That was like 7. My bad.
You were gone very fast. Actually, we're kind of coming close to a decent stopping point, but
Oh, you over it? I'm over it.
You're over it? Cool.
No, I'm not. I'm chilling. You usually run them for like 2 hours or something.
Yeah, around. I just kind of like. I want the whole thing to be organic and chill. Anyway, you know what I mean?
It was flowing really nicely before you told me you were about to cut me off.
But there are sections I like to have. The chat that we just mentioned are going to ask you questions.
Oh yeah,
similar to the way you did the podcast with John and Eyal Levy. That's his name.
Cool. Yeah.
Except it's live, and they're going to hear your answer live. You know, no pressure. But they're going to ask you a bunch of dumb stuff. I have a weird community, and they know it. And
I'm ready.
Yeah. But yeah, we can also talk about anything you're passionate about or want to get off your chest or feel like chatting about too.
Want to get off my chest? Not really. I'll plug the fact that, I dropped a song with the singer of Carnival a couple of days ago. Please go and check that out. You might like it. And I have another song coming out on the 12th of March which you also might like,
which
I sent to
I've
you.
heard. It's sick.
You into it?
Yeah. So, are you trying to do something like different constantly? Like I know you mentioned that earlier. Like with this song, you tried to do like more moving chords and jazzier type progressions. Is that your goal when writing a single every time? Like, are you trying to expand it?
Well, for the most part, I just want it to be sick. I try, it sounds really stupid, but I want it to be undeniably sick and catchy and melodic and groovy and have high energy. That's just the thing I want to do.
So that's the base of which you start things.
Basically, yeah. So with this one, there was a thing where thematically, it's like the sequel to Balance, which was my first tune. But instead of going sad and emo for it, like I did with Balance, like I said before, if I poke into a new area, things seem to come out quicker. So that's why it's a little more, I'd say like summery, a bit more volumes.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If that's what you're referring to.
What I'm referring to is, I think, as all musicians, we have like a style, and no matter how hard we try to expand out of it, there's still like, I love that everything you're putting out is just Olly, genuinely. That's basically what I was going to say. Yeah.
Well, I think, yeah, I'm just trying to be different, but I'm pretty sure that if you like Balance, you'll like this. And maybe you won't. It's the best thing I came up with. And it's coming out on the 12th of February. So
March? You said March earlier,
March?
I think.
If I said March, I fucked it. 12th of February.
Okay, so it's coming out soon.
Yeah, a week and a couple of days.
Okay.
I have plans to do a bunch of different stuff stylistically, which it will all sound like me. I've had an idea for a while to put out like a blues rock type tune, like a Black Label Pantera type thing, but on
a pentatonic song.
A chromatic pentatonic thing.
Okay. Okay.
But like produce like the Doom soundtrack, like completely riffy still.
Shout out to Mick Gordon, bro.
That's an idea I've had. I've got a few riffs for it.
Okay.
I want to do more stuff that's kind of more crunchy tone wise. I haven't done any solo stuff with a 7-string yet, or particularly low. I mean, this next tune is
true
only in drop D.
We have a saying around here that drop D is OP. So
is what?
OP.
OP.
You don't know what that means?
I know what it means, but it doesn't make sense to me.
What do you mean? It's overpowered, dude. It's the strongest tuning there is.
Oh, okay. Fair. It's working for me at the moment, but yeah, I don't. If I did Balance Part 2, but it was the same tuning and basically the same vibes, that's not inspiring me, and I'm not sure if people receive it in the same way. That people really, the reception of that song was really cool. Right. So I think at one point I will release like an EP, which I've been working on something for a long time. I might also do an EP with vocalists. I might do you know what I mean? There will be kind of larger bodies of work at some point. But for now, sick tunes, sick riffs, get in, get out, bangers. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. No ballads. Just get the riffs in. It's kind of the plan.
I'm a fan, man. I think everyone else is a fan. No, actually, I have a Discord community, and that's where people keep up with like the stuff going on in the podcast or upcoming guests. And Try came out, and people were like, "You need to get Olly," and I was like, "It's like, well, it might already be happening." But
sick.
People are stoked on your stuff. Well, I came on your Instagram, and I was like, "This is basically my podcast, so we should probably just make that happen." Right. And it is, right? It's like the same thing.
Yeah.
Which when I started this, I never wanted this to be like a podcast. Which the thing that's different about this than most others is you can't watch it. You know what I mean? Especially live. Like people can interact and hang out. That's like kind of more fun than just listening to two people.
So you don't upload this afterwards?
I will upload this to YouTube.
Okay.
But even still, I'm going to upload the video. Like people can watch us talk and see our reactions.
Okay.
I feel like that's more organic, or it's at least something that I wanted to see happen.
I mean, this is like the epitome of what content is across all platforms these days. It's
True.
a chat between two people or a few about various topics that your viewers want to hear about.
Yeah.
Seems to be the way, whether it's a fucking podcast or an interview or a hangout or a chat with, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is what people like. I listen to shit like this when I'm cleaning my house. I'll throw one of these on.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have you in it though. This is special.
True. This is very special. That's a terrible heart.
Isn't that nice? Isn't that a nice moment?
Someone said, I love how Ollie is just straightforward about shit, Sean says. Me and Ollie have actually known each other for a very long time, and we do love each other. Capital L. I mean, I love you. I don't know if you feel the same way, but...
I love you, Sean.
All right, let's roll some questions. I forgot to ask you the ending question. I'll ask you after, though. Gotta scroll. Someone said, did you just open a beer with a water bottle? Yes, it's possible. It's pretty easy to do, actually, once you figure it out.
Is that a thing you do?
It's like my straight edge talent. Like, it's the thing. Like, if someone can't open a beer, I'll do it.
But check this out.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're like, dang, man, that was cool. What beer are you drinking?
Peroni.
Oh, I've heard of those. Yo, that's our merch guy's favorite beer.
We'll send him over.
He would love to. Actually, no, he came with us this past time. He loved it. He did drink Peronis, so.
Is it? Who did you have on merch in 2014 when we talked together?
Was that Luis, my good friend?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, he hasn't toured in, God, I can't even, probably.
At least a year.
5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, but I love Luis. He's my best friend growing up. I don't even know if he watches these, but shout out to Luis. Luis used to be, and I say used to be, he was a photographer. He did live photos, and he was incredible.
Yeah, I was in a couple of them.
Yeah, I don't think he
send
even
us a little link.
Touches his camera anymore either. But he's thriving. He's doing really well. All best wishes to Luis.
Shout out to the boy.
Yeah. If you could have any nickname, what would you want it to be?
My name is Sick.
That's a great answer.
I ain't playing no games.
Is that your birth name?
It's my name. Well, Oliver.
Okay. Less cool.
I got nothing.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding. Oliver Steele is a great name. It's hard to find these questions when they've been said already.
You're just making them up because no one's watching it. No one cares about me.
This has actually never been live. That would be the best part. How long did it take to write Try?
It's one of those where I had so the outro groove, I think I wrote that maybe in 2017. Then I just never touched it. Then when lockdown happened, so you could say 4 years, but it's not really, because I had a thing, and then when lockdown happened, I was like, right, why don't I finish some fucking shit and get something done? So 2 weeks, it was pretty quick.
Okay.
I'd be honest if it wasn't.
But if you
that one,
if you get that like first essential riff going, you already have your like floor plan. You know what I mean? Like you already know the key it's in. You already know what notes you can hit.
Well, so it's actually quite unique because I usually don't. I did that thing for a long time where you write a riff and then you just find whatever. Now I won't do that. If I've been inspired to write a section, I'm going to keep going until I'm completely mentally exhausted. So I have 9 sections.
Okay.
And then I'll refine each one, and then I'll see, does this one feel good full-time and half-time, or could I change this from major to minor, or this and that?
So this will actually be kind of fun to talk about. When I do lessons, a lot of the things I try to teach, a lot of people ask about songwriting. I don't know how often you get that.
A lot.
Okay. I try to nail how writing a song from its feeling can give you. Like, so many people are like, well, why did you think to put this song in Era? And I'm like, well, we wanted a circle pit live when we were playing this part. So, like, you know what the feeling of a circle pit riff is, right? It's like,
right.
It's that feeling you want to get when you're performing it or listening to it. It's like, like it's almost like a hippie way to say like write with your feelings, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But it's crucial. I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, you know what kind of sensation you want to feel when you hear a part, and the guitar is really good at doing that, especially our genre. Like, if you want to bounce, you can write a bouncy riff. Yeah.
Amen.
What is your top 3 favorite beers?
Don't give a shit. After you've had like 3, keep them coming in.
Oh my God.
I think I'd say like I'm actually a bit of a fucking beer slut. So Peroni, Corona, Desperados, Stella, Camden Hells, probably not a thing in the US. I can only think like Kronenberg is the one that just doesn't really, I don't love it. But if we had a case of 30 Kronenberg on the bus.
This is all going over my head because I don't drink beer. So you're just talking to the people.
Their brand's beer, Sean.
Yeah, okay. Kronenberg, isn't that
I should have been like,
horrifying...
I should have been like, well, I don't mind Durex and skins are pretty cool.
Those are like, condoms because
I gotta try it. I gotta go try some of those.
A question for both you guys. I'll let Ollie answer. Would you recommend aspiring musicians to consider a music degree or course, and if so, online or campus?
I would say if you have the means, studying music is great for a few reasons. It helped me because at least the course I did was very much catered to people who maybe have a little bit of talent, but aren't like, they don't have the things they need. The things they need to make musical decisions and to be creative and to understand certain genres and be versatile and this and that. Understanding what sounds, what tones, what notes might be in certain areas of music, shit like that. So much more confident coming out than I was going in. And it didn't do everything for me. I only started building my rhythmic chops when I joined Monuments because do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but the other thing is, it's you in a class with a bunch of other musicians who don't know who they are musically yet, and you all learn together. And when you have the lesson together and you go to your buddy's house afterwards, or you're studying together, or you're just kind of jamming, and that stuff right there is like really important.
So on that end, campus would be better than online because you would lose that aspect.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Not that I've ever learned music online outside of YouTube, but I mean, now there's Riff Hard. You could go and check out Brown's thing. Very specifically catered to, I mean, if you wanted to do a Monuments-y thing or any, you know, there are similar bands to us, that kind of thing exists as well. And that's very community-based. But I remember, like I said, learning in class, going to my buddy's house afterwards, maybe revising together. He's showing me bands I've never heard before, learning about Sixth and Sugar in the same day, different tips, different tricks, working out that not everything that works for them is going to work for you, and just kind of working out where you fit and how, you know, certain things apply to you as opposed to everyone. It was really beneficial. I wouldn't be the same player if I hadn't done it, to be honest.
See, I can't even answer that question because I've never done it. Like, in America, I just feel like unless you go to Berkeley, which it's like you can like almost pick out a guitar player from Berkeley in a crowd. You know what I mean? They just...
But this is the thing. I always use these two guys as an example. So Tosin knows a bunch of theory. Misha, admittedly, doesn't know much theory, although he still does, but I don't think he's learned it from a curriculum. Both guys go in and out of a bunch of different sounds and have written many tunes and riffs and a lot of like melodically challenging stuff that neither of them sound confused, do they? One guy's really schooled, one guy's not. Maybe we're an example. You're in a bigger band than mine. You didn't study music.
I never thought I'd ever...
bigger than Monuments.
I mean, it's just so weird because like Monuments has been such a defining band for so long. I mean, I guess by the level...
that's different than that.
Yeah, but maybe that's like what I want to aspire to be. Like, it's just so hard.
I guess my point is that you can do it.
Yeah.
Either way. I have a lot of confidence now in many areas in terms of note selection, how I really want to come across, what I want to sound like. I'm feeling very confident in that area right now.
Yes.
I don't have to look. I don't feel like I have to look to other bands. I don't feel like I'm behind other bands in terms of how do I kind of want to do like an Architects thing. I love Architects, but you know,
we've been doing an
right
Architects
now
thing for years.
many people like it. I like it too, but you know, my point is that there are success stories in each area of educated or musically educated or uneducated. Like,
I mean, I think the answer to the question could even be summed up to, I've been playing guitar professionally for years, and I would still kind of like to be educated in that way, in that sense. You know what I mean?
And I would like to know more. Don't get it twisted. There are so many things I don't know.
No one will ever master
I can have a
the
conversation
instrument.
with. Yeah, and if you and me jammed or whatever, I'd learn a lot.
We should do that. We should do a jam.
I'll be over Friday.
Oh,
2 days.
Do I have to chip in on the plane ticket or?
Nah, I got it.
I was gonna say through this, like Discord would be fine for me.
It's gonna be some budget thing that takes like 70 hours, but I got it. We did that to go to Australia once because we usually just like pick.
I get what you're saying. Like 70 hours of travel. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's not gonna be fucking.
I would rather pay $1,000 than do that. Straight up.
Okay, man. Well, you have my offer.
Okay. We could just do like a video call one day. It's actually a lot easier, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Just to wrap up that bit, another thing, one of the reason I use these picks are because of Justin Lowe, may he rest in peace. Because I was using picks that didn't budge. I decided that was the way, and then we toured with After Burial, and he was showing me like, nah, but you feel like this. Feel how it's like a little bit more groovy and a little bit more like behind the beat and this and that, and like just physically feels a bit less like hitting a hammer on the floor. You know what I mean? You get a bit more responsive,
right? And like you gotta, when you use picks that just abuse your strings, like your strings are there for you, not against you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I've had many conversations with people on tour. So having that community thing is similar to what I had in college, where you're surrounded by a lot of people who do this, looking to do a similar thing to you. They want the same kind of result in a way, but they also want a completely different thing. And learning where you fit and, what you like and what you don't and how certain people are, that stuff's really good.
A sense of community is super important. I mean, that's even like, I kind of miss the days when you're younger, just starving, looking for bands. Like, it doesn't happen now, but do you remember when you just tried to play with any musician you knew because you were like, well...
Your mic cut out when I tried to what?
When you tried to play with any other musician you knew in your town, because it's just like you need people to fill voids, you know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
Those are days that I miss, but also don't miss, because there are definitely some people that you play music with and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. But you might be wrapped up in the enjoyment of it initially.
Yeah.
Not really realize that, this drummer's not that solid, or fuck, he can go a lot faster than me. I actually can't play that fast. Or I remember having each spectrum. I get in the room with Boris, Train the Martyrs, and he was already quite good. We studied together.
Okay.
And I remember him trying to teach me what nowadays we would consider like just a simple that kind of thing, and I was like, hang on. So he's like, yeah, no. So after the first bar, pattern keeps going, doesn't repeat there, and I was like, like I just couldn't fucking get it, and stuff like that really, really beneficial.
Yeah, true. I mean, I've been shown. I've learned stuff from you, from that one tour. I mean, that tour too, like. It was pretty unfair of me to be on my first ever guitar tour and be with you, John Brown, and freaking Josh Travis from Glasgow. Like, I was just like, what is going on?
Such a sick tour, man.
It was such a sick tour. And like,
it was us and Reflections swapping opening, then you, and then Glass Cloud and Sky Harbor swapping.
No, Scale the Summit, not Sky Harbor.
What did I say? Sky Harbor?
Yeah. I get what you did. Which we did a tour with Sky Harbor and Tesseract and Contortionist, another tour where I was like, what am I doing with my life? I do not compare to these people.
Dude, when we toured with Carnival, who aren't technical, I was like, why don't I just stop?
Well, so in the other vein, we've also done a tour with Acacia Strain recently, and like they come on and just hit literal zeros heavily, and their crowds just literally start killing each other, and it's like, I want to play to those people. Those are different people than I just played for.
When I filled in for Volumes, which isn't the easiest stuff in the whole world, but comparatively to Monuments, way less fretboard traversal. It was the best. I'd never had in-ears before. I'd never had a tech before, really. Not properly.
When did you fill in? What would
2018.
Okay. Did they had their original vocalist then, or were they also using someone different then?
It was Gus and Mike.
From Contortionist?
No.
Okay.
Volumes?
Okay, yeah, but okay. So Mike also
I think this is post
okay.
Matey Boy from Contortionist filling in.
Which was so sick.
That was fun. I went to that show.
Yeah, insane. Because that dude is an insane vocalist.
Was when playing more open strings and less notes was like, and having a bigger crowd and more reception was just like, woo, could get used to this. And then I came straight back into a Monuments tour. New album material, fucking hard. Like, I was like, this is not what I was just doing. I was sweating.
Yeah,
that was a real shock.
I get that. I think even Era now has written some easier bangers for that reason. Like, we still have some of those songs, but then it's like, dude, let's just get people to kill each other.
I'm looking forward to Monuments playing less notes. It won't happen because I think inherently, I mean, it could happen, but inherently, I think that me and Brown are fairly notey players.
Yeah,
it is a thing. So I'm just gonna have to keep sweating.
Yeah, for some reason we just started two-hand tapping every part we play now, and it's just part of our.
Oh yeah, I've never had to do. We had one two-handed tapping lick that I wrote, and I was like, I'm not playing this live. Put it on the backing track and make it a synth part, so it's no longer a guitar part.
I have to play that. I have to play it all live and typically alone. For some reason, Jesse's like, "Yo, this part will be sick if you're just playing it alone, completely to a yeah,
naked, yeah."
Yeah. And I've had some mess ups. No inherently worse mess ups than anyone else, but no one else was just completely alone and naked on stage. You know what I mean? It's like,
it's part of it.
Yeah, it is part of it. Dude, this has been awesome. I'll have to give you a video call again sometime soon. I'll depart you with my final question. It's an end of the podcast question.
Okay.
What is the scariest thing about technology to you?
Misinformation, fake news.
Okay.
People believing shit without doing any research.
Well, the problem is they're doing their own research catered to the information that they want, right? Like, that's the whole thing.
I think multiple sources is smarter than this is my favorite page, so
yeah,
it must be true.
Have you seen The Social Dilemma on Netflix? I think that's what it's called.
No.
So it talks about how the algorithms basically just keep feeding you the information you want to be fed, so that people live in their bubbles of misinformation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm sure I was just about to say, I'm sure I'm guilty of the same shit. You gotta be careful with that shit because you don't know it. You don't know everyone's motive. You don't know. You can post anything, and if the site looks good, it's gonna look good. This even I often bring up the anyone can get a green screen and shoot a video and put it on YouTube with an HD camera and tell you this is the best way for you to achieve this thing. I'm gonna show you 5 simple tips, and it's not. It can look great, and it could see, and it could get popular as well. But I think more of a general sense of sources of information is a smarter thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
that's a minute. I'm not talking like that. There's obviously political shit and
the political
life-changing shit.
Yeah, is what everyone boils it down to. But like learning an instrument, yeah, I get what you're saying. It is scary.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. Just because Sean said he learned a bunch of stuff from me, he could easily be talking out of his ass. Like, when did that happen?
2 times.
I swear we've never, I think I remember once.
I'm about to tell you the 2 times.
When is this? I feel like you're just saying nice words. That's why I'm bringing it up.
I don't, dude. You don't know me that well then, apparently, because I don't do that. I don't just say nice words to anybody.
I could be wrong.
2 times. One was we had no amps in a green room while Chris Barretto was playing saxophone. You showed me a lot that day.
Wow, but I didn't know shit
in
2014.
But I knew less shit. Let's be real.
Fair.
And at NAMM, that time we saw each other.
Fuck, no, it was a headache.
I love NAMM.
My friend was also in LA, so me, him, and Diego went to this bar.
Oh yeah.
Day before, and then on the day, bright fucking lights, 50 drum kits playing at once. Aristides are like, "Yo, do you want to come and jam?" And I'm like, shaking. It's just, and like, you know, famous people are walking around, and it's just like, I did it to myself, but
yeah,
some of the sickest hangs I've ever had. It was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I love it too, right? It's like you're hanging out with like if we're going to talk about community, the entire touring world is a massive community, and typically you can see all of them in one place at one time of the year. It's crazy.
Yeah. I saw you, I saw my mate Ash, I saw Sam, but then you also saw Angel Vivaldi. That's a funny story because we both looked at each other but didn't say anything to each other, even though I feel like we knew who. Yeah,
you did.
The other guy was.
Sure. Yeah.
But then I also just saw Stevie Wonder walking around.
Yeah.
And I saw Frank Gambale getting out of a taxi, and I saw Aaron, and it was just like,
yeah,
the fuck.
Yeah, it's overwhelming for sure. I think I told you the story, which I could retell on my podcast, but I was on the wall of Ibanez that one year, or maybe just continuously, but the first year it happened, I was super stoked, so I wanted to go take a picture with myself because that's my hey mom look, I did it.
I forget that you're an Ibanez dude as well.
I
don't know why I always relearn that every time.
I'll just tell you every time. It's fine. Hey Ollie, how are you? I'm still an Ibanez artist.
Let them know.
Yeah.
Let the people know.
But anyway, I tried to squeeze my way through. I was like, man, what's going on over here? And I actually walked in or through a press conference that Steve Vai was holding, and I was like,
perfect. I mean, that's probably the worst thing a man in your position could do.
I probably got fired from Ibanez that day. I just don't know.
Because you are an Ibanez artist as well.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
I also accidentally walked through Maroon 5's guitar players gear demo. It's so much going on. It's so hard to keep track of what's going on around you.
Yeah, it's a mess.
I think on YouTube you can still look like the Maroon 5 guitar player is showing you his new custom, and you see me walk through
Oh, I want to see that.
Yeah, I might can find it, but Ollie, this has been incredible.
My pleasure, dude. It's been fucking sick.
Everyone go listen to Ollie's side project. You can find that at Oliver Steele on Spotify. Olly Steele on Spotify.
Olly Steele, yeah.
Go take lessons from Ollie. He's awesome. He's a good teacher. I don't know if the time zones will work, but I think he'll make it work.
I'll make the time zones work.
Where are a lot of your students based out of?
Mostly in the US, actually.
Okay.
US, Europe, Australia, and then the UK, funnily enough.
Someone just linked your YouTube, your Instagram. I have a good mod here in my channel. He's a solid dude. But yeah, I'm going to leave you now. It's been great.
Man, good to catch up.
Yeah, dude. It was awesome. Hear from me soon.
Look forward to it.
See ya.